Hey, I am live. It's the Nazarite, bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore this evening from rainy Jerusalem, which is nice. I am a summer person. I've always been a summer person, but rainy Jerusalem is good. We always need the water. I wanted to read the questions or the comments from Friday, and so I'm going to do so now. I said I'm going to do it on Monday, and I didn't. Now it's Wednesday, and it's been a long and productive day. But hey, Lisa, hello! And I wanted to get this done. Right then. Khalid said, "My favorite donuts have a happy. Oh, my favorite donuts," he said, "have a happy Hanukkah, right? Because this was back when Hanukkah was still going on. What I love about the holiday is it's similar to Eid, celebrating victory. So Eid is the Arabic word for uh, holiday or sacred day, Eid, or is it? Yes, never mind. Something like a holiday. Let's put it that way. And the favorite donuts, right? So traditionally, the fried donut, the fried jelly donut is right with the miracle of the oil. So he says it's similar to Eid, celebrating victory. Yeah, but it's more than just victory. I guess it's what the victory. Well, no, yes, it is. It is. It is actually celebrating a victory and other things. But yes, a victory. Little Andre said hello. Yodidiao stepped in with a nice gimatria there, which once again goes way over my head. But maybe it was pertaining to something I was saying at the time, or maybe not. I never know with this guy. Set your eyes to Zion, he said. That's right, to keep our eye on Zion. Now, Zion is also a conceptual thing. It's an idea. It's not necessarily a geographical location, a city, and a place. It is very much that, sure, but to different people, Zion is a different place entirely. So, more than it is a geographical location and a place, right, that occupies, territory, it's a state of mind. And this idea of setting your eyes to Zion. Maybe he meant it actually, and maybe he meant it metaphorically, conceptually. Orthodox Jews, and it stands to reason that other types of Jews have been praying towards Israel for all throughout exile, and this is at least in part based in the prayer which King Solomon, Hamelech Shlomo, which he uttered at the dedication of the first temple, where he said that the prayers that the people of Israel pray will come through this city and through this house which I built for you, he says. And so people in the exile, people in the diaspora, they face Jerusalem in prayer, or they face Israel. People in Israel face Jerusalem. People in Jerusalem face the old city. People in the old city face the Temple Mount. And those who are on the Temple Mount, they face the holiest of holies when they pray. That's the, let's say, a hierarchy, if you will, of geographical orientation, right? When someone prays, to orient yourself physically in a certain location, right? Islam does it as well. Other faiths, I'm sure. It, I find it to be a beautiful thing. I'm actually going to change direction in order for something to manifest just such, right, in such a way. And in doing so, I also hope and pray that the words that I utter will have that same effect back on me, that they will be able to orient me properly, just as I did it at the beginning of prayer. Mm. Now, with the Hebrew prayers, there are times when you stand, there are times when you sit, there are times when you bow, there are times when you prostrate yourself only once a year, basically, on Yom Kippur. There are different times when let's leave it at that. Things that are going on with your body, the words you say, the place that you turn to, where your knees are, where your hands are, these have meaning. Now, different things were added on with tradition and over time, of course. And there are so many jokes and different ideas on what is this swaying motion that Jews have when they pray. I've heard different ideas about that, all each lovelier than the next, I might add, basically. But I digress. To set your eyes to Zion is a great thing. And it reminds you regardless of what you consider Zion to be, an actual city, a state of mind, anything in between, you set your eyes to it, right? And what is right? What are these eyes, right? Our sight, vision. There's a lot there. Let's continue. Little Andre said, "Did you by any chance say you're live from Yerushalayim in the beginning? I don't recall if I said it at the time. I said it now. Stands to reason I did it then as well." Yodidiao says, "Can Chanukah be like the golden calf, an idol?" Well, I'm not sure what he meant by that. I mean, I was talking there about rabbinic Jews, right? Orthodox Jews who observe Hanukkah, made it part of the 613 commandments and so on, while other groups and other followers of the Hebrew faith don't, or at least, well, some do and some don't. Let's put it that way. And I was talking about that at the time, and he asked, "Can it be like the golden calf, an idol?" Anything of religious symbolism or meaning can be also corrupted because it's usually man-made. Human beings. We are the ones who embellish on the religions. We are the ones who incorporate new things into the religions. And for Hanukkah to be like the golden calf, you're basically saying, can it be corrupted? Can those who follow it be corrupted? The answer to both questions is yes, people can be corrupted. Religious symbolism, holidays, traditions, they can all be corrupted as well. So yes, it can be like the golden calf. It can be an idol, much like anything and everything else. But with the Hebrew faith, I think the key is when we remember our temple and the holiest of holies, we also remember the two golden kuvim, the cherubs. This thing which God said, "I don't want to see any golden idols." In the holiest of holies? Oh, yes, please. How do those two things coexist? And it's that type of thing. It means that it can be like a golden calf. Hanukkah can be like an idol. Or it can also be something that might be seen by others as an idol or golden calf when in fact it is something exceedingly sacred and elevating. Let's put it that way. I guess it's a matter of perspective, but can it be? Yes, it can. Hanukkah can be corrupted. Religious people can be corrupted. Religions can be corrupted. Anything that's human made, we're all fallible. Let's continue here. I mean, I have a lot to say. That was a great little nugget, of a question there by Yodidiau, and I feel I can talk about it for much longer. But I'm just gonna mosey on along because I don't want to ramble too much. Little Andre said, either way, three of my favorite persons to listen to live in Yerushalayim. The other one lives in Tzfat. Oh, that's kind of you. That's nice. I think that's the end. Right, it was a very small thread. Let's go now and see if there's anything going on here. Hello, 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 Ariel Marshall. Hello, little Andre. And Lisa, I said hello to you too before. Let's see. I had a terrible accident with a donut last time I was in Israel. Hope people heat them less now, not eaten one since. Oh, I'm sorry you had an accident. I believe, well, having to do with thermal energy, I take it. I'm sorry if you burned your tongue or your lips or the roof of your mouth. It's so annoying. But yeah, sufganiyot can be very hot. Or do you mean you had a terrible accident and you hope people eat them less now? Is it heat or eat? If it's heat, well, it has to do with how hot it was. And if it's eat, from what I can see, people are eating or have eaten tons of them all the time. There have been years where I got myself a vegan sufganiya, a vegan donut. I didn't do so this year. I don't mind. I'm not so crazy about them. Either way. Shalom, shalom, says little Andre. Shalom to you. Little Andre asks, did you read the previous chat as you promised yet? Please type the answer in the chat. Want to save data? Yes, I did. I'm happy to say that I did. And now I'm here. Smiley face. Okay. It's a good time to, well, you know what? I'm just gonna say a quick word or two on my life. We're managing to get rid of more and more boxes since we came back from the Netherlands. Different things a massive group of boxes was unpacked today, and Adonai has blessed this home and my life so much, with so much. I hope and pray to be the type of person who will be able to take these positive vibrations from my surroundings and learn how to be more positive myself. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, day, night, wherever you are. Thank you for being here. Oh, wait, little Andre said something, but nevertheless, I do want to thank you for being here. I deeply appreciate you guys in the chat, people in the comments, those who are watching now or those who are watching later. It's not something I take for granted. It's always lovely to go live and have an audience here, however big or small, people to converse with. It fills my heart with A, joy, and B, it widens my perspective, it widens my awareness, and it widens in some ways, right? It's a great expansion of the heart, and you make it happen, and I appreciate it. Anyway, says little Andre, also wanted to say three of my favorite people to listen to all live in Yerushalayim. Wait, three of your favorite people all live in Yerushalayim. The other one lives in Tzfat. Two are rabbis and two are not. The other two who are not rabbis are Karaites. At least by definition. Oh, I see. Okay, at least by definition. Hey, Yodidiahu is in the house. Hey there. Hi there. Good to see you. Lisa Freyne says, what can you give about this Torah portion? Well, it so happens that last night, well, up until basically today during sundown, it was my Hebrew birthday. Ooh, pardon me. I turned 39, and I'm starting my 40th year on my way to completing my fourth decade in this life. What a trip. So this week's Torah portion is very near and dear to me. Hey, woman. This Torah portion is very near and dear to me because it is my bar mitzvah portion, also known as the portion that I read out loud from the Torah scroll in front of the congregation on the Sabbath when I was 13. It was a wonderful congregation we had of friends and family, and I read the Torah. I read my Torah portion, Vayigash, with the reunification or unification of Joseph and his brothers and their father coming down from Israel, and he has a dream in Beersheba, and Joseph, who started off in Vayeshev as this 17-year-old, this rash and bold youth, as it were, he becomes the provider, not just for himself and the one and those next to him, but families and nations all around came to Egypt. A great transformation, which signaled on the one hand the salvation of Israel, literally of Israel, of Jacob, his survival, and the survival of his kin, his family, his legacy. On the other hand, it was the beginning of Israel's time in Egypt as a nation, though we were not a nation quite yet. And it was sort of dovetailed there. And that comes more in the book of Exodus, of course. That's how it starts. When the book of Genesis of Bereshit ends shortly, it happens. There is optimism. I see optimism there. But I digress. About this week's Torah portion. Wow. I think this week's Torah portion is, and not to sound too cliche, but well, love and unity are a wonderful thing. Sometimes they come at a great price, but sometimes at a difficult price, and sometimes they can come very unexpectedly. I don't know if Joseph expected to see his brothers waiting on the bread line, as it were. This week's Torah portion, we see Yehuda in the beginning of it. He steps up. It's not for naught that it's called Vayigash, right? That he came towards Yosef. He walked over to him. There are some commentators that say he whispered it in his ear. And that was a very bold move, a peasant coming and whispering in the ear of well, royalty. But Judah, right, Yehuda, he had the balls, he had the audacity to speak that way, to make the sacrifice of keep me, take me instead. So in this week's Torah portion, something about it. Let's be like Yehuda, who took responsibility and who stood up, and he told his father last week, he said, "It's on me. Trust me. I can make this happen." And when Judah thought that he couldn't make it happen, he said, "Oh, Joseph, take me instead. I can't go up there and look my father in the eye without this boy, without Binyamin. I can't do it. I can't see the terrible thing that will befall my father. Keep me." There's a lot to say about selfishness and selflessness, but I think, at least in some ways, to be more like Yehuda, to not be afraid to have that azut de kedusha, that sacred boldness, to seize the day. Happy birthday! Thank you, Lisa. And Yodidiao says, Koach Adonai. Well, Koach, well, let's just keep going. Let's keep going. By the way, little Andre, how many donuts did you eat? So I didn't. I can't remember when was the last time I ate a donut. Maybe early this year or last year. Can't remember, but it wasn't like years ago though. So no. So like I said, I haven't. Oh, great then. I continued talking about the Sadu Agoris or Achoris in the chat there, but it got cut off. Agoris or Achoris are really the opposite of Nazarites. I'm not sure what that means. Yehuda ben Yisrael equals Ruach HaKodesh in Gematria, says Yodidiao. Well, see, that pertains to what we were talking about here, so I can get that. I understand that. What I said there. To them, it's about accepting everything, says little Andre, including unclean things like dead bodies. And to Nazarites, as we know, it's an exact opposite. Well, a Samson Nazarite, which I'm closer to be than a Numbers Nazarite, if you will. A Samson Nazarite grows the hair, stays away from unclean food and drink and the grapes, right, and the wine, but with dead bodies, it's not a problem. Dana Cox says Vask Tech. All right, Dana. Is it a girl Dana or a boy Dana? I'd love to know. Or you don't identify as either one of them. That works. Vask Tech. Vask Tech, I say. Let's see. Ariel says possibly both, but I meant heat. Okay. Random fact I heard, he says. Hard to know how accurate this is, but apparently to burn the calories from one donut, you would have to jump as high as the moon. As high as the moon? You mean in one consecutive, continuous jump with that sort of force equivalent to that sort of. Well, I suppose if when you simply jump once in the air with Earth's gravity and you land and you use X amount of calories, then that many in a jump, which would be what? How high could you jump? Let's say a foot, let's say 30 centimeters. Then you would divide that, or you would multiply that by the distance to the moon, and you'd multiply that by the calories. So I don't know how accurate that is either, but damn, that's a lot of calories, and that's a lot of jumping. That's a long jump. You'll need more than a vault for that. Yodidiau says Yod Hey Vav Hey appears exactly 18, 20, 1018, and 20 times in the Torah. Okay, you know what? Let's go with that. Let's go with that. Yod Hey Vav Hey appears that many times. I can agree that might have some significance. And then you say Koach is 28, Kafchet, Adonai is 65. And then you say Koach. Wait, you're doing it times 65? Or are you. I'm not sure what you're doing there. Are you multiplying 28 by 65? Is that what you're doing? I'm assuming that's what you're doing there. 28 times 65 is 1820. Okay, but as far as I know, at least in certain teachings, koach has a certain meaning. Adonai has a certain meaning, especially spelled that way, Aleph Dalet Non Yod. And I'm trying to understand what is the thread, in your opinion, that sews together Koach 28, Adonai 65, the multiplication, the multiplying of those two numbers, right? And the name Yod Hey Vav Hey. I'm trying to understand where the connection is. If you could help me out there, I understand that it's there. As far as you're concerned, I'm just not sure of it. Okay, Ariel says, wait, you guess what? I'm not sure what you mean. You guess zero, is it 0 grams or OG, or did you misspell something? Would have no problem with that. Heard some tall stories about him. Not, not sure what to make of them. Wait, hang on a second. Did I miss something? You were talking about donuts, right, Ariel? And then you mentioned that factoid about the moon. And you're probably responding to something that I said, but I'm tired, so I don't precisely recall what it was that you are reacting to. Have you heard the secret of 1820? So, no, I haven't, but please enlighten me. Though I am gonna go soon, because I'm tired. It's been a long and productive day. I'm very happy with today. I'm so happy to be here doing this. I'm happy, I'm so grateful that I can just set up my laptop here on my lap, actually, and I go live, and there are people here, who give a crap and who are engaging. And it's so lovely. It's lovely every single time. Ah, it's it's a blessed thing, I think. Many would disagree, but I see it as a blessing. Everything that comes my way with this channel has been such a blessing, and I've learned a lot. I really have. Let's see. By the way, says little Andre, do Elohim or yourself a favor and sew a blue thread along with 4 of your dreadlocks hanging at the 4 corners of your shirt, at the 4 corners of your shirt. I'm feeling free tonight, says little Andre. Well, that's nice. Well, I don't see myself sewing anything into my dreads or using my dreads. I'm thinking that if I attach my hair to clothing, that wouldn't be too good. Not as a long-term strategy. Angel says, "Oi, mate. Hello, oi. Can I have some of your poo-poo?" Yes, but you'll have to really, really specify if you mean actual poo-poo, right? Actual crap out of my butthole, or if you mean some of my poo-poo, like some of the crap that I'm peddling here, or my rambles, or some of my poo poo, like things around the house that I don't need, or or oh, Og the giant, Og. Okay. Hi, Oregon Freebird. But sorry, Oregon Freebird. I can't deal with that right now. I'm talking about poo poo here. All right, Angel. Let's see. Can you have some of my poo poo? What will I get in return? It's got to be a barter, all right? It's got to be a situation here where I get something. I mean, I'm giving you my poo poo, and so I'd like to get something in return, even just a card, a little thank you thing, even just a one of those electronic greeting cards that you can send through the mail or the email, and that'll work. I think, yeah. I'm free, free falling, says little Andre, with the words of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. That, right? Is it from Into the Great Wide Open, right? Free Falling. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I grew up with them because of my father, and it is awesome. And he has a couple of records that I just can listen to. My brother put it really well. He says he says Tom Petty has a couple of records that you can just listen from start to finish, and it's enjoyment with every song. It really, really is. And he's got some hits, man. Now, the last big Tom Petty hit that I remember, not right, because then I kind of tuned out a little bit, and I still like his more classic stuff. But the last thing I remember that he did that I loved, because I was heavily into Alice in Wonderland at the time, the book, the movie, the Disney movie, it was "Don't Come Around Here No More." I loved the music video, kind of disturbing, kind of creepy, and I love it. And as a song, "Don't Come Around Here No More." It's a good one. Tom Petty. Tom Petty, some good old rock and roll. Yodidiao says it's all in Hebrew. Perhaps you can understand better than me. Well, yeah, it's in Hebrew, but the revelations, let's say, or traits that I associate with the word koach and Adonai Aleph Daled Non Yod and Yod Hey Vav Hey are different, and which is why I was well, obviously they're different. Each revelation and each name and each utterance is different, but I was wondering as to what you feel is threading those together in the context of the numbers, which is why I say that gematria isn't my thing. I'll say it again at the beginning or end of a teaching, to sort of bring a point or start something off. That's wonderful. It's the supplement of wisdom, as they say in the Mishnah. But I have difficulties, as I've always had, with making it the main course. So I'm asking you. It's not about the Hebrew, right? You're reading the gematria. You're reading the mathematical equivalent, if you will, and that's different than letters, right? It's letters, it's numbers pretending to be letters, letters pretending to be numbers. Ariel is probably referring to the giant og jumping to the moon. And giants. It's okay, Ariel. I get it. Time for HN to catch some Z's. Yes, it's true. Hey, says Yodidiao, I'm eating turkey soup. Hey, good for you. Very good for you. I don't know if I ever had turkey soup. I've had turkey, back when I still used to eat them. But I don't know if I've ever had turkey soup. Angel, are you an angel? And what the? Lisa Freyne says, I'm laughing so hard over poo poo. Hey, don't laugh over poo poo. Poo poo is serious business. If you don't believe me, well, you will in good time. All right. And he asks Karen. Oh, I'm sorry. Little Andre asks Karen, did Jonathan just say he's going to sleep now? Not watching live. So yeah, I kind of did. ACA 987. Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you, man. First it was Angel, and now it's ACA 987. All right, I'm gonna try and keep track. Oi, bruv, I'd gladly take some of your poo-poo if you feel inclined. Well, look, I feel inclined to poo-poo. I'll give you that. But to ship my poo-poo so it remains in a pristine condition, right? I'm talking about mint condition poo-poo here. If we're gonna do that, A, you need to pay the expenses, all right? If you want some of my poo-poo, you pay shipping and handling. I'm not handling my poo-poo. I'm not handling it very well. I mean, sure, sometimes, but it depends on what I eat. So where were we? Right, shipping and handling. You ship, you handle, and please, I will only send it to you if you properly submit a review, okay, a proper, authentic review at NazaritePoopoo.com. Also, if you could start the website NazaritePoopoo.com, I'd appreciate it. But you don't have to. Let's see, where were we? Right, take some of your poo-poo. Okay. For now, at least until you decide to actually step up and, send me some money so I could pay for the shipping, nothing extra. Or reimburse me, we'll work it out. Until that time, yes, you may take some of your poo-poo. Yes. I mean the website, said Yodidiao. You're eating turkey soup? You meant the website? The website turkey soup? Oh, it's all in Hebrew. You meant the website. I see. Do I see a website? I don't think you mentioned any website. I'm not sure. Why y'all talking about poo-poo? I'll tell you. It's a very serious thing. That's why I'm talking about it. Are you aware that billions of people poo-poo every single day? And are you aware that other people who aren't actually de facto defecating, they poo-poo ideas and concepts and people? We all poo-poo. Oh yes, we do. We do. Let's see. Little Andre, somebody please tell me if he's going to go to sleep now. Uh, so let's see. Not going to sleep yet, apparently. Let's see. Og of the Bashan. Yes, okay. Um, is that a midrash? Is that an external rabbinic teaching that he jumped to the moon? I don't recall. Please enlighten me. Little Andre says to Karen, I heard from rabbis that Og of Bashan was one of the giants who survived the flood because he held on to the ark. Yes, I also know that midrash. Rashi brings it, I believe, when Avram is first referred to as the Hebrew. It says that the person who fled from the battlefield of the five and the four kings, right, the nine king, the battle of nine armies there. He showed up at Avram and he told him that Sdom was overrun and that Lot was taken. And it said, though, who was this person who fled from the battlefield? And Rashi, I think, brings the midrash there that it was Og that held on to the ark and he survived. YouTube must be blocking the website. Yes, 1820. Okay, wait, 1820 COIL. Oh, okay, 1820 COIL. I'm just going to put it in now, but I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to put it in there to do it later. 1820 COIL. 1820 COIL, from what I can see right here, is. I'm not sure what it is. It seems to be commerce, but I'm not sure. Who's blocking what now? Oh, to 1820. Okay, so yeah, I did. Oregon says to little Andre, yes, I have heard that there are lots of stories out there in the Midrash. Yeah, tons of stories in the Midrash. The thing with Midrash is that some are meant to, well, they're all meant to teach you, but while some can be more possible and feasible and actually realistic, some are downright not realistic, which should not be usually anyway taken as literal Torah and literal, let's say, word and literal being. That it's there to teach you something necessarily, and although all those, so yeah. Karen, he says, I love stories, but that's just what they are. Stories, don't know if I believe them all. No, it's not. You're not supposed to believe them all. You're supposed to maybe learn something from them all. And even then, you will learn different things in different points in your life. There are times maybe when you read a certain midrash and you don't get it and nothing clicks and it doesn't mean anything, and you're like, who wrote this garbage? And you look at it a different time where you're going through different experiences and circumstances have changed, your conditions are different, and suddenly something about it shines before you and you're able to sort of glean something from it that you couldn't before. These teachings of the Midrash, many of them were compiled after the destruction of the Second Temple. Some of them were probably around before then, the teachings, and which were passed down, but the books themselves, like Midrash Rabbah, Midrash Tanchuma, and others, they what else? Yalkut Shimoni. There are all kinds of them, and many of them were compiled in the few centuries after the destruction of the Second Temple. And it's rabbinic teachings in that sense. But just because it was compiled and put into, let's say, book form by the rabbis, by Orthodox, let's say, I know not Orthodox, right? By the sages of the Second Temple, the rabbis, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's only rabbinic, because there are different ideas and concepts and teachings which are true or were true across groups and sects and denominations. And I choose to look at not where they all differed, or sometimes, right? But usually I try to go for what's unifying about it. And Midrash can be unifying in the sense that it's there to teach you something. That's why not all Midrash became halacha, And not all Midrash ought to be taken literally. Not all Midrash needs to be believed as, oh my god, this actually happened. But certainly all Midrash, you should probably give it some thought and not necessarily dispel one and say that it's garbage, because sometime later in life it might come across in a, be lit in a different way, or you would be lit in a different way, and there will be a connection there. Or so I think. I've had that experience. Okay. Okay, let's see. Where were we? Okay. Andre says, I fell in love with the book of Yashar, but I wasn't there to confirm they all happened either. Yeah, exactly. As I always say, for me, the question is, now what? All right, all these books exist, all these teachings exist, all these traditions exist. They go back 3,000 years, 5,000 years, 200 years, 78 years. And now what? Here I am. I'm at ground zero. What do I do with it? What is it that it's here to teach me? What can I learn from it, and what shouldn't I learn from it, and where am I going to make mistakes? It all comes back to the individual for me. So the Midrash is there for us, for me, to read, to enjoy, and not necessarily believe it all or think it all literal. So yeah. I have no clue what's going on because I'm not watching the live. Can't say, says Ariel, that's classified. Maybe you should. Maybe I should, he says. Maybe you should watch it live. It's your call. Ooh, pardon me. Little Andre says to Ariel he got it. Haha, okay, I got it. Alright, I think one more comment and then it's off to bed for me. Oregon says, Little Andre, I also love the Book of Yashar. Some people have a hard time separating original Torah from outside texts. Dr. Miriam Brand's studies on Second Temple literature helped with that, though. Yeah, yes, there are so many different texts which were around the Second Temple era and afterwards, let alone before, that are not Torah. They're not the five books of Moses, and even if you say that Deuteronomy was added later, let's just even take the four books, right? Let's just even take Bereshit, Genesis. Now, you could discuss forever on the merit or lack thereof of Torah and what it is the word, it's not the word, it's man-made, it's not man-made. We got it from heaven. We wrote it down. I think that that idea of separating original Torah from outside texts, the outside texts and the outside or and the traditions have become so intertwined with the Jewish way of life, and a lot of wonderful things have a lot of wonderful things have come to pass because of that. But it does make it difficult for people to seek out that original, let's say, truth which Torah symbolizes to them, right? That word of God. Even with the Torah, there have been times when changes were implemented in the scroll. And so, as far as I'm concerned, I can see why people have a hard time separating. And because there is such a hard time separating, original Hebrew faith from modern day organized rabbinic religion, Hebrew faith, and Torah, original Torah from other texts, and all those different things all intertwined, all together, brought together by exile and destruction and all kinds of things which force things to be written down again to go into survival mode as a people, as a nation. That whole thing is exactly why I choose to go more so back to the roots, because that's where I feel there is the most confidence, where I know that this isn't some relatively new tradition. This isn't something which brought people apart. This isn't something which tore up the Hebrew people at the time of the Second Temple with all the different groups and sects and difference of opinions. It's the things which I mainly, I think, choose to follow are things which are sort of evident from the story of creation and of Eden and Sefer Bereshit, right? The book of Genesis. That's how I see it, though I might be wrong. Karen says, little Andre, yes, I've heard something like that before. That people struggle to separate the Midrash legend from halacha. It's not even legend. It's teachings. That's what Midrash means. It doesn't mean legend. It's not agada. Agada means legend. Agada or agadata. Agada and agadata are types of midrashic teachings, but they differ from, let's say, midrash halacha. There's two, right? There's midrash agada and there's midrash halacha. There are different types of them, but yes, I understand what you're saying. Separating legend from halacha and so on as well. Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to ask Hebrew Nazarite about a certain. Oh, see now, and now I have that dilemma. Do I cut him off? Or if he's in the chat and he saw that I said off to bed soon, has he already left? I don't know. Oh, okay. There he goes. Jewish women, says Andre, who were very smart. Oh, he wanted to ask me about a certain Jewish woman who was, or were, right, very smart, but I forgot her name now. It's so long ago. Can't help you, buddy. All right. I'm going to say good night. Thank you all for being here. Wait, seriously, says Ariel, some Midrash is not literal, so Og may not have literally cooked fish on top of the sun? Now, I know you say that, with a tongue in cheek, but there are many people who take things that the rabbis say, and I mean that loosely, from 2,000 years ago and now, like very, not loosely, broadly. There are many people who take a rabbi's word as, well, gospel, as something that is the word of God, as it were, right? Some people say it's like gospel. So I think that some people need to be told, yeah, that not all midrash should be taken literally. I'm sure that there are people who think and know that if it says in the Midrash that Og the giant, right? Og Melech Bashan, the king of the Bashan, if he cooked fish on top of the sun, then he actually literally cooked fish on top of the sun. I'm more partial to the idea that if you're going to take that teaching to mean something, it's that uh, Og has a certain revelation, right, that he pertains to. Fish and the top of the sun also have a certain revelation that they kind of point towards or signify, that sort of thing. By the way, little Andre says, by the way, Jonathan, I talked to somebody on YouTube today who also didn't know about Karaite Judaism. All right, cool. So you enlightened someone. Good for you. Don't let the bed bugs bite. I will not. God willing. I'll see you right back here on Friday for the weekly Torah portion. I hope there will be time. Thanks again for joining me. It's always a pleasure.